Hi friends, welcome to Vaibhava English Academy. Today let us look at linguistics, its definition, scope, and is it a science, and all related stuff. So in this topic we would be covering definitions and concept, is linguistics a science, scope and nature of linguistics, and levels of linguistic analysis. Coming to definition and concept. So we all know that linguistics is a systematic study of languages. Linguistics focuses on what is language and how does language work. The word lingua is a Latin word which means tongue, and istics in Latin it means study or knowledge. Therefore, linguistics studies language as a universal or recognizable part of human behavior. Coming to modern linguistics, there are certain procedures in formulating laws that are applied in modern linguistics. So the major procedures are observation, formulation of hypothesis, experimentation, and formulation of law. Let us look at each in detail. Observation. The scientist observes a series of phenomena in everyday life, collects his data impartially, and classifies them in a way that reveal general principles. So the first step is observing a language and collecting general principles. The second step is formulation of hypothesis. The scientist formulates general statement governing the phenomenon observed. So first he observed and he tried to formulate a hypothesis. Hypothesis means the if this happens, that would be the result. Coming to the third process, that is experimentation. The scientist conducts experiments to test whether the observed facts fit the hypothesis formulated. Okay, first was observation, observed, then the scientist prepared a hypothesis, and third step he experimented the hypothesis. The fourth step is formulation of law. When the scientist is satisfied that the hypothesis accounts accurately for most of the data, he formulates his hypothesis as law. So these are the steps involved in modern linguistics. There are three criteria to decide on what should be best formulation of general principle. So we have seen how a law is formulated, and these three criteria keep a check on the law. The first one is completeness. The law must account for most of the data collected. The second is consistency. The law must be capable of consistent application. The third one is simplicity. The simplest description of the same event is the best. For example, we can describe rain in so many words, or it can be as precise as just water pouring from clouds. So, as a linguist, one should give priority to the simplest form of sentence, that is simplicity. So these three criteria: completeness, consistency, and simplicity. Moving on, the next topic is linguistics a science? So the first argument would be linguistics is a science because it has scientific inquiry. A linguist does a scientific inquiry into the languages. Okay, empirical and objective implication is applied. Empirical, practical application is done on languages to understand its law and its origin and all. And objective implication, we must remember that it is not subjective. Subjective means personal. The personal, if you are taking some subjective matters, it might differ from person to person. One person's opinion might not be the other person's opinion. But when we speak about objective implication, it is universal. Linguistic empirical approach rather than speculative. Speculative based on guesses, wild guesses. So linguists, what they do is they stick on to empirical approach, practical approach. Okay, not guessing works. They are not after guessing works. They are just not guessing how English language originated or how Malayalam language originated. They are not guessing. They go by practical proofs. It operates with publicly verifiable data obtained by means of observation and experiment. Objective assessment rejecting all subjective, cultural, nationalistic prejudices. So the analysis would be based on objective assessment. Empiricism refers to the view that all knowledge comes from experience. Now, American linguist called Bloomfield, he is a very famous linguist, he basically stood for empiricism. Now coming to yet another concept, that is positivism. Positivism depends on difference between positive data of experience and speculation of various kinds. We all know whenever a new experiment is suggested, so there might be positive data recorded as a matter of fact, and there might be some guesses, that some wild guesses. So positivism refers to the positive data minus speculation. So from these points we can conclude that linguistics is a branch of science. Now coming to levels of linguistic analysis. We can analyze a language as morphology, phonology, syntax and semantics. Coming to the first one, phonology. Phonology comes from the Greek word phone, which means sound or voice. The subject matter of phonology is the organization of sounds into significant units called phonemes. Phonemics is the study of techniques employed in discovering phonemes of a language. Okay, so if you are analyzing this word phone, so what happens? The first sound, first sound is phoneme. Okay, and the study of you see analyzing this particular word is phonemics. What is significant in a language as the basic meaningful elements enter into large rule governed patterns of construction. So in phonology, we are looking after how basic meaningful elements like phone is used into larger rule governed patterns. That means when it enters into the structure of grammar, how that particular word gets used or the word gets transformed. Phonetics. We all know phonetics is the raw material of speech. Phonetics studies how sound is produced, perceived by listener, and it also focuses on the structure of sound. Moving on. Coming to the next term, morphology. Morphology comes from the Greek word morph, which means form. So morphology is the study and analysis of structure, form, and classes of words. You see, this phonology, what happens, we are dividing it into we are dividing a sentence into so many smaller units. The basic unit is phoneme. After that comes a group of words, that is morphology, morpheme. Okay, then comes syntax and semantics. So organization of morphemes into meaningful groups called morphs. Morphemes is the study of techniques employed in discovering morphemes of a language. Coming to the next one, syntax. Syntax comes from the Greek word syntaxin, which means to put in order. So syntax deals with the order of words. You see the grammatical structure. He went to play. We cannot say he play went. So the order is governed by syntax. It deals with combination of words into phrases, clauses, and sentences. It is that part of language which links together sound patterns and meaning. When we say he went to play, okay, that conveys an idea. Okay, some person went to play. If I say he play went, then it does not give meaning. So syntax is something which looks into the order of sentences, and it is the connecting part which connects sounds with meanings. Moving on. Semantics. Semantics originated from the Greek word semainin, which means to signify, show, or signal. Semantics is the study of meaning. Now, there are many subfields to linguistics. So, as a student of linguistics, we have to give importance to these subfields as well. The first one is general linguistics. General linguistics supplies the concept and categories in terms of particular languages are to be analyzed. So, general linguistics gives general rules. Phonemes, morphemes, syntax, semantics, all are set, then that comes under general linguistics. Coming to descriptive linguistics. Descriptive linguistics provides data that confirm or refute theories put forward. Okay, so there are theories, for example, Bauer theory. So using descriptive linguistics, we can confirm or refute some particular theory. Okay, now next one is diachronic description of language. We all know diachronic and synchronic. Diachronic is like diachronic means from general to specific, that is from a greater structure to a simpler structure. Traces historical development of a language and records changes that take place in successive points of time. So that is diachronic description of language. Coming to theoretical linguistic studies, language with a view of constructing a theory of their structure and function without regard to any practical application. Without practical application, just by applying theory, we can say that one particular language developed in this way, developed in that way. So that is the theoretical linguistics. Coming to the next, applied linguistics. Just as the name suggests, here application concerns with the application of concepts and findings of linguistics to a variety of practical tasks. Applied linguistics is used for teaching methods as well, how to teach effectively, how to teach linguistics specifically to kids. So in that way, how here the focus is on how or the practical approach. Coming to the next one, microlinguistics. Microlinguistics is the structure of language system without any regard to acquisitional, cultural, psychological and physiological factors. Microlinguistics deals with a language without acquisitional. What is acquisitional? That is passed on from one generation to another. A newborn child, the child learns language. How the child learns language? He acquisites. It is given to him, right? And cultural, we all know, psychological and physiological surrounding. So a child grows in a surrounding, and in that surrounding whatever language is used, that child gets imbibed to the language. That is microlinguistics. Macrolinguistics, just as the word suggests, it offers broader view about everything pertaining in any way to languages. Everything and anything connected to languages comes under macrolinguistics. Coming to the next one, comparative linguistics. Comparative linguistics traces the evolution of language by comparing one with another. Okay, and it tries to establish a relationship between them. So William Jones studied Sanskrit, Greek, Latin, Celtic and Germanic languages in 1786. Such a form of and he formed this Indo-European family of languages. So such an analysis can be termed as comparative linguistics. So what he did is he compared each language and formed a relationship between the languages. Now coming to discourse. Discourse refers to how people use languages in text and context. Okay. See, we all say we can interpret it as in written works, in written books, as well as in certain situations. We all know some particular words are give one meaning in one situation and some other meaning in other situation. So that is discourse. How, the aspect of how. Discourse analyzes people's actual utterances and try to figure out what processes may make those utterances appear the way they do. So, whenever we are saying about a discourse, a political discourse or a grammatical discourse, that discusses the how aspect of the concept. I think I am clear. So, these are the basic principles of linguistics. If you like this lecture, please pass it to your friends, share and also subscribe. Thank you so much.